Hello, I'm Sebastian. Welcome to Nine Nar Trees podcast. Today, I will summarize and review the book. The Caesar's Palace Coup by Sujeet Indap is a narrative business investigation into the high-stakes fight for control of Caesars Entertainment, one of the most recognizable names in American casinos. Using the company as a stage, the book tracks how rival financiers, dealmakers, and executives battled over strategy, ownership, and leverage, while markets watched the drama play out in real time. Indap, known for his reporting on Wall Street and corporate power, frames the struggle as more than a colorful corporate feud. It becomes a case study in how modern finance can reshape iconic brands through debt, restructuring tactics, and aggressive legal positioning. Readers are taken inside the personalities and incentives that drive headline deals, revealing how prestige assets like Caesars can turn into instruments in a broader contest of influence. The result is an accessible account of complex capital structure maneuvers, the human ego behind them, and the collateral impact on employees, lenders, and communities connected to the casino empire. I will give you key takeaways from this book. Firstly, an iconic casino brand becomes a financial battlefield. A central theme is how a consumer-facing, culturally famous company can be pulled into a contest primarily defined by balance sheets and control rights. Caesars is not treated merely as a hospitality business with gamblers, hotels, and restaurants, but as a set of assets whose cash flows can be leveraged, refinanced, carved up, or pledged. The book highlights how the brand value and real estate footprint made Caesars attractive to financial players who saw both prestige and opportunity. That opportunity, however, depended on intricate financing structures and a willingness to endure volatility and reputational risk. By focusing on Caesars, Indap illustrates how the modern corporate arena can turn a household name into a battlefield where the audience may recognize the logo but not the hidden machinery underneath. The company becomes a vehicle for competing visions, long-term operational improvement versus short-term value extraction, consolidation, or strategic restructuring. This topic helps readers understand why famous brands are not shielded from hard-edged financial tactics and why the public story of a company can diverge sharply from the private struggle over who ultimately controls it. Secondly, billionaire rivalries, ego, and the anatomy of a corporate coup, the narrative underscores that large deals are not driven by numbers alone. Personal rivalry, status competition, and distrust can become catalysts that intensify disputes and push actors toward brinkmanship. Indap portrays the fight over Caesars as the kind of confrontation where billionaires and power brokers operate with both strategic calculation and deeply human motives. In a corporate coup dynamic, control is pursued through board influence, shareholder blocks, pressure campaigns, and public signaling, all designed to shape outcomes before formal votes or court decisions occur. The book shows how reputations on Wall Street and the desire to win visibly can harden positions and make compromise difficult even when it might preserve value. Readers see how competing camps recruit allies, craft narratives, and exploit moments of weakness, including market drawdowns, covenant constraints, or leadership transitions. This topic clarifies how corporate governance can become a contact sport when ownership is fragmented and when incentives reward winning more than stability. It also helps explain why conflicts can spiral as each move triggers countermoves, turning business disagreements into high-drama struggles for dominance. Thirdly, debt, leverage, and the hidden mechanics of Wall Street power. A major focus is the role of leverage and complex capital structures in determining who has power when a company stumbles. Caesars became a vivid example of how debt can amplify returns in good times and magnify conflict in bad times, as different creditor groups, equity holders, and insiders hold claims with competing priorities. Indap explains at a high level how financing layers create a hierarchy of rights and how those rights can be used as weapons in negotiation. In situations where liabilities are heavy and cash flow is pressured, the story often shifts from running the business to managing the balance sheet. This includes refinancing efforts, asset transfers, covenant battles, and the legal strategies that surround restructuring. The book shows why sophisticated investors care about details that outsiders overlook, such as which entity owns which asset, what guarantees exist, and how intercompany agreements are written. These technical elements become tools for extracting advantage, delaying opponents, or shaping the final distribution of value. This topic benefits readers by demystifying why Wall Street can seem to dictate corporate outcomes and why leverage is both a growth accelerant and a source of systemic fragility. Fourthly, lawyers, courts, and restructuring tactics as competitive strategy. Another important topic is the way legal strategy becomes inseparable from financial strategy when companies approach distress. The Caesars saga demonstrates how disputes over ownership, asset movements, and creditor treatment can migrate into courtrooms, where outcomes hinge on documentation, precedent, and timing as much as on business fundamentals. Indap illustrates how restructuring is not simply a technical cleanup process, but a competitive arena where parties try to shape the narrative of fairness, protect their own claims, and pressure opponents into settlement. Litigation, threats of litigation, and the careful choice of jurisdiction can influence bargaining power and market perception. The book also emphasizes that legal complexity is not incidental. It is often an intentional design feature of modern deals, producing ambiguity that can later be exploited. Readers come away with an understanding of why distressed situations attract specialized funds, why law firms and advisors wield enormous influence, and how courtroom battles can determine who bears the losses. This topic makes clear that the outcome of corporate conflict frequently depends on who can endure the process, finance prolonged fights, and deploy the most effective combination of legal argument and deal-making. Lastly, what the Caesars fight reveals about incentives, greed, and consequences. Beyond the personalities and the mechanics, the book uses Caesars as a lens on the incentive structures that shape modern capitalism. Indap explores how fee-driven deal ecosystems, performance pressure, and competitive prestige can encourage strategies that prioritize extracting value over building resilient businesses. When stakes are high and accountability is diffuse, participants can rationalize aggressive moves as standard practice, even if those moves impose costs on other stakeholders. The Caesars conflict brings attention to the ripple effects, employees whose futures depend on stability, local economies that rely on major properties, and smaller investors who cannot influence complex negotiations. It also shows how narratives of business genius can mask a more complicated reality in which outcomes depend on leverage, legal positioning, and the ability to outlast rivals. This topic invites readers to consider how systemic incentives reward risk-taking and tactical aggression, and why regulation and governance often lag behind financial innovation. The book ultimately offers a cautionary perspective. Iconic assets can become chips in a larger game, and when the game intensifies, the winners are not always the ones who create lasting value for the company itself. In conclusion, this book fits readers who enjoy narrative nonfiction about Wall Street, corporate power, and high-profile business conflict, including fans of deal-driven stories who want more than headlines. It will also appeal to MBA students, finance professionals, lawyers, and curious general readers who want a practical view of how leverage, governance, and restructuring tactics interact when a famous company is under stress. The main benefit is clarity. The Caesars story makes abstract concepts like capital structure priority, creditor negotiations, and strategic litigation feel concrete, showing how decisions made in boardrooms and conference calls can determine who wins, who loses, and why. It can sharpen a reader's ability to interpret business news, understand incentives behind public statements, and recognize the trade-offs that come with debt-fueled growth. Compared with many business books that focus on a single hero or a simplified lesson, Indap's account stands out for treating the conflict as a system of competing motives and constraints. The combination of reporting, character-driven drama, and financial explanation makes it worth buying if you want a gripping story that also deepens your understanding of how Wall Street power is exercised in real corporate battles. If you would like to support Sujeet Indap, you can buy the book through the Amazon link I've provided in the podcast description. After reading the book, please let me know what you think and share your thoughts.